What is the onboarding time frame for from the time you start and you want to sign up with Booking until the time your listings can go live? What's the average sign up?
Yeah, absolutely. So it definitely depends on which connectivity provider you're using and how many listings are in your portfolio. If you are not using a provider at all, you can use your existing content from other online travel agents to import your information. So it takes about 15 minutes to build a listing without using a provider. If you are using a provider, typically takes a few minutes per listing to publish them to the booking.com. I would say on average, it takes about a week for partners to get their full portfolio on the booking.com platform, do a spot check, make sure everything's ready to go prior to going live on the site.
I have
Yeah.
one question because I do have a larger portfolio, and sometimes reconciling at the end of the month is complicated. And my company does use payments by booking. So the group invoicing and reconciliation, tell me a little bit more about that. Can you explain it so it's easier for us to reconcile at the end of the month when we have multiple bookings coming in for multiple properties all over the country?
Yes, absolutely. So in its previous version, if you were a host managing a lot of properties in Terra, I'm sure you remember this, you would get individual invoices for each of your listings on a monthly basis, and you would have to pay those individually, which was a massive headache for our partners. We still show a breakdown in the group extranet, but now when you go to finance and to the invoice tab, when you receive your monthly invoice, you'll be able to see a consolidated version of that and pay in bulk. So in the past, you could do a bulk payment, but you would have to submit a note via the extranet and say, this is how I want my payment applied to all of my invoices, where now you can pay all of them in bulk directly from your group extranet page and not have to send any sort of message, not let our team know how you want that broken down. And the payment will be applied to all of your open invoices at once, which definitely makes it a lot easier.
Hello and good morning. My name is Tara Lorimer, and I am your host this morning. I am the Vice President of VRNation, and I am also the founder of Luxury Getaways, a short-term rental company up in the Pacific Northwest. Welcome, everyone. Good morning. VRNation is a national association of property managers with roots from a regional association in the Pacific Northwest. We are formerly known as NWVRP. Our mission is to elevate the industry through education, networking events, and our online community. We have a roadshow coming up in Tahoe on October 22nd, if you guys would like to join us, and a national annual conference in Denver on April 28th and through April 30th of 2026. We have a weekly podcast, which you can find and listen to on your favorite podcast spot, like I believe we're on Spotify, YouTube, and iTunes. And we also have a bi-weekly webinar series based on education. So please welcome Emily Tusick with Booking.com. Booking.com is a digital marketing platform for listing properties. And this webinar is for our property managers. Welcome, everyone.
So thanks so much, Tara. So thank you, VRNation, for having us. I'm excited to share how Booking.com can help grow your vacation rental business. So what we do for travelers. In the US, travelers increasingly seek diverse accommodation options beyond traditional hotels. Booking.com caters to this demand by offering a wide array of vacation rentals, from cabins in the Rockies to beach houses in Florida and desert retreats in Arizona. This broad appeal means your vacation rental listings are exposed to a massive and varied audience. What we do for our partners. So for property managers, this means access to tools and services designed to help scale your business, promote your properties efficiently, and ultimately increase your booking and revenue. You're looking at the right place for vacation rental business growth. So vacation rentals now represent 1 in 3 room nights booked globally on Booking.com. And we have welcomed over 1.8 billion vacation rental guests. So the demand is here and it's continuing to grow. In 2025, 800,000 vacation rentals earned a Traveler Review Award. This demonstrates the quality within the vacation rental segment on Booking.com, building trust for both travelers and new partners in the US. Booking.com has a global footprint, and our strong presence means your properties are visible to both domestic and international travelers planning trips. Guests often come to our platform with a destination in mind rather than a specific accommodation type. So this means your listings get exposure to travelers who might not have considered a vacation rental at first, but are open to it once they see the option. As previously mentioned, 1 in 3 travelers end up booking a vacation rental on our platform, and we're also consistently one of the most downloaded travel apps in the world. So this means more eyes on your listings, more bookings, and ultimately more revenue. You're tapping into great marketing potential. So our marketing engine works hard so you don't have to. We advertise your listings on major search engines like Google and Bing in 45 different languages, and we invest in both global and local campaigns. This drives consistent demand across the year. Plus, you gain access to our Genius loyalty customers filled with repeat travelers who often start their search on Booking.com. And 45% of new hosts of Booking.com receive a booking within just 1 week of listing. So our ad campaigns are some of the most visible in the industry. Our 2025 Super Bowl ad featuring the Muppets had over 95 million views on YouTube and 165 million on TikTok. This kind of exposure translates to massive awareness and traffic to our platform and ultimately to your properties. We're not just on TV, though. We're deeply integrated into cultural moments. We are the long-term presenting sponsor for Major League Baseball. This means more inspired travelers booking your properties for unique and memorable trips. Booking.com is consistently investing in technology to launch exciting new features to enhance the vacation rental experience for both guests and hosts. So AI-powered search. This is a game changer for the US market. Travelers can use natural and conversational language like, I want a house close to the beach, good for families, and our dog with air conditioning to find properties. This means your detailed property amenities become even more valuable, and it's always a great best practice to detail any amenities you have. Using the previous example, if you accurately listed amenities like air conditioning or pet friendly, your property will show up in the search results, leading to better matched bookings for you. Booking also uses AI to translate the conversational searches into smart filters, presenting the most relevant properties to travelers. Booking.com will highlight your property's unique selling points, personalized to each traveler's search, making your listing stand out and help convert more lookers into bookers. So now shifting to what matters most to you, hosting with peace of mind. We've built features that give you more control over who books your property, how you communicate with them, and how you manage any unexpected issues. You'll have better insight into who's booking with tools like verified guest profiles coming later this year and being piloted in the US. This will be a great supplement to our existing features like setting expectations with house rules, having access to guest travel history, and verified email and payments when using payments by Booking. So while Booking.com has traditionally been an instant booking platform, we realize that instant bookings may not be possible due to owner requirements or HOA rules. So you now have the ability to use request to book functionality, and we are continually making improvements to our request to book feature. You can now chat with guests before accepting their stay. So if you receive a request to book from a guest who uses an iOS device, you can communicate with the guest directly before accepting their stay. We're also continually developing and rolling out direct communication functionality for requests coming from other devices such as desktop and Android. Hosting can definitely come with some risk, so we've got you covered, from liability insurance up to $1 million per reservation and different damage protection options. We are also so excited to announce that we will soon include 100 million in guest damage insurance to give you even more peace of mind. These protections give you confidence in every guest stay on Booking.com. So you're in control with payments by Booking, easier finance, and more secure cash flow, all accessible within Booking.com. Payments by Booking gives you guaranteed payments and fraud protection. It also offers guests the choice to pay with whichever method they prefer, like Apple Pay, Klarna, or PayPal, in addition to all major credit cards. So this flexibility for guests can increase your conversion rate. And as an added bonus, for the remainder of 2025, all credit card processing fees are waived, and it's completely free to use payments by Booking. It's easier to manage the finances of multiple listings. So now US properties are automatically onboarded to payments by Booking, simplifying the setup process for growing portfolios. So if you add a new listing, you can check a toggle to make sure that your listings are automatically enrolled in payments as you publish them to our site. We also now have group invoicing and reconciliation, making managing finances and paying invoices for an entire portfolio much easier, saving you significant time and reducing administrative headaches. So it's simple to get started with us. With Booking.com, you can either publish your listings through your provider's interface or through the Booking.com extranet. It's simple to import your property to us. So if you're not using a provider currently, registration is free and only takes 15 minutes to complete. You can also seamlessly import your property's information from other travel websites that you may already be using. If you are using a channel provider, it takes a few minutes to register, publish, and update your properties through your connectivity provider. You don't have to start from scratch, so we help you stand out from the beginning. As previously mentioned, 45% of hosts get their first booking within a week on our platform. Booking.com also converts review scores from other trusted platforms, giving new listings an immediate credibility boost. Your listing will have a new to Booking.com label, and this helps your properties gain visibility in the first 90 days, helping to attract early bookers. Your listings also automatically get a ranking boost for the first 90 days on our platform. This feature helps new listings overcome the cold start and quickly establish a presence on our site. So now shifting to some quick tips to help you boost your performance on Booking.com. Consider evaluating your restrictions and availability for the right balance. Minimum stays. So minimum stays can really boost your revenue per booking, but on the flip side, they can also limit your guest pool, especially for those shorter domestic trips that are so common in the US. On the other end, longer stays are great for reducing your turnover costs. However, they can lead to some frustrating unbooked gaps in your calendar. Where it makes sense, don't be afraid to maintain shorter minimum stays. This can help you capture more bookings, especially for travelers looking for a quick getaway. If you're using a provider, I strongly recommend reviewing their dynamic pricing tools to manage your availability and restrictions efficiently. This ensures your listings are always optimized and ready to go. And then lastly, if you want to learn more, including some resources here for you. So for existing partners, you can utilize our partner hub at partner.booking.com for advice, trends, and help. For new partners, you can go to join.booking.com to get started. And lastly, you can also reach out to bookinghost.norum@booking.com. All right, thank you. And we're going to shift over to the Q&A.
Hey, I have a couple of questions for you real quick.
Perfect.
So my company partners with booking.com. I've probably been on the platform maybe about 5 years. So I'm quite familiar with it, but can you tell our listeners what unique advantages does partnering with booking.com provide compared to other platforms? Because there's over 100 out there nowadays, and it's so much information.
Yeah, definitely. So booking.com is the largest online travel agency globally, and something that sets us apart from the other big competitors in the vacation rental space is the fact that we have such different diverse accommodation types on Booking that guests often go to booking.com specifically to look at a destination and not necessarily an accommodation type. So it's a great way to convert hotel bookers into booking.com, or sorry, into vacation rental bookers. One of our other unique advantages is that we distribute your properties on other trusted travel websites that we partner with, such as Agoda, Kayak. If you think about like credit card bookings, so if you go to like an American Express credit card booking platform, we power a lot of those engines. So not only are you getting exposure on booking.com, you're getting exposure on our affiliate partner sites as well.
I didn't know that. Good to know. What are the most important factors for new listing visibility on Booking?
Yeah, so for new listing visibility, content is key. Definitely making sure that you have the best photography that really shows your property's unique advantages. In fact, 63% of guest booking use only photos to make their decision. So I would say focus on having beautiful photography and then making sure all of your content is up to date. As you get started, when you have reviews, after you get your first couple bookings, always make sure to respond to the reviews and respond to any guests asking questions. This will show engagement on the platform and help boost your ranking. Also, enrolling in payments will give you a just automatic ranking boost on our platform. So if you're not using payments already, I definitely recommend looking into enrolling into it.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Are there any upcoming features on Booking that will specifically benefit vacation rental partners?
Yeah, definitely. So I would say our guest verification is going to be great for hosts. We've listened to our partners and realized it's something that hasn't been maybe as robust as some of our competitors on our platform. So really excited to roll that out. In addition to the guest verification, the guest damage insurance will be a great added benefit for hosts using our platform. It's not something we've had in the past.
Okay, so here's a big one because I've run into this before, and we're super careful at our company with fraud, especially because we have properties out of state and long distance. So tell me about, and Booking is, we see a lot of our reservations that come in through our company from international bookers. The number one international travel site OTA for us is booking.com. So with a wide range of travelers coming from around the world, how do you handle reducing fraud and chargebacks? Because I just did a podcast on this last week for VRNation on fraud and chargebacks and how I've been handling them and dealing with them in my personal company.
Yeah, absolutely. So going back to payments by Booking, if you're not already using it, I definitely recommend enrolling in it, because if you don't use payments by Booking, how it works is we pass the guest details over to the property manager to charge via whichever internal system they're using. When you're using payments by Booking, we validate the payment on the partner's behalf, and we also cover all chargebacks. So if a guest attempts a chargeback after they stay, the host won't even know about it because booking.com will handle it directly with the guest. And regardless if the guest is successful in their chargeback or not, booking.com is still covering that cost and the payment will be remitted to you.
And does that work on all platforms that you guys push it out to, like Agoda or Amex or whoever your partner sites are?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're using payments by booking, it a reservation that comes through your system will just look like a regular booking.com reservation, and we will still handle the payments directly for the guests. So it's essentially worry-free and definitely takes a lot of the headache with dealing with payments. It's not, I know it's everyone's favorite topic in the world, so definitely makes it a lot easier. And it applies to all affiliate websites. One caveat I will say is if you are signed up individually on Agoda, it would be whichever policy you have in place directly on Agoda. Most of our partners don't have a separate Agoda account, but just something to keep in mind if you're using that as one of your channels, it would be whichever policy you have set directly Agoda.
Okay. And payments by booking is a relatively new term and something you guys rolled out in the last 6 months. So can you maybe explain to our listeners a little bit more what the changes are and what payments by booking means? Are you the merchant of record then?
Yeah. So payments by booking it's been out for a few years now. It's in partnership with Stripe. And essentially how payments worked prior to us launching payments by booking is that we would pass the details to the partner and they would be responsible for charging the guest with whichever systems they have in place. That being said, we realized it was not ideal for our partners, especially because, vacation rentals are not hotels, right? So if you were having difficulties validating a payment, you would have to handle that directly with the guest. There's no front desk. You might not necessarily be seeing that guest in person at a centralized check-in desk. So it definitely caused some headaches for our hosts. Now with payments by booking, how it works is that we collect the payment and validate it on behalf of the partner based on your cancellation policy. So the day your cancellation policy expires is when we will collect those funds from the guest. That way, if they cancel during a free cancellation period, we're not like sending money back and forth, but we do validate at the time of booking. And then on the day of check-in, that payment is remitted to you. All of that being said, you remain the merchant of record, regardless if you're using payments by booking or not. So while we collect all of your taxes and fees, we don't remit taxes to local authority, and you still remain the merchant of record. And then just as another note, I know I mentioned this, but just to reiterate, booking.com covers all cost related if there's any like fraud or chargeback. So in the past, if you weren't using payments by booking, this would be the responsibility of the host to deal with any chargebacks personally, but booking.com handles that on your behalf.
Okay, thank you for the information. I have
Yeah.
one question because I do have a larger portfolio, and sometimes reconciling at the end of the month is complicated. And my company does use payments by booking. So the group invoicing and reconciliation, tell me a little bit more about that. Can you explain it so it's easier for us to reconcile at the end of the month when we have multiple bookings coming in for multiple properties all over the country?
Yes, absolutely. So in its previous version, if you were a host managing a lot of properties in Terra, I'm sure you remember this, you would get individual invoices for each of your listings on a monthly basis, and you would have to pay those individually, which was a massive headache for our partners. We still show a breakdown in the group extranet, but now when you go to finance, into the invoice tab, when you receive your monthly invoice, you'll be able to see a consolidated version of that and pay in bulk. So in the past, you could do a bulk payment, but you would have to submit a note via the extranet and say, this is how I want my payment applied to all of my invoices, where now you can pay all of them in bulk directly from your group extranet page. And not have to send any sort of message, not let our team know how you want that broken down, and the payment will be applied to all of your open invoices at once, which definitely makes it a lot easier. If you prefer the previous version, when you're on the invoice page, there is a button that you can select view previous version, so you can switch back and forth between the group consolidated invoice, or if you want to see a really granular view of all of your invoices, if you select view previous version, that's still available to you.
It is nice to see all the individual invoices, but just make one payment for the month instead of making 100 individual payments.
Oh my gosh.
Because
Yeah,
I've done it before. On our
yeah.
big months, we had to do over 100 individual payments. So it's nice to have those features out there. I think that's all the questions I have, and then that's coming in from the outside group. Anything else you'd like to add, Emily?
The only other thing that I'd like to add is just make sure that your contacts in booking.com are updated, so you will be notified about all these new great features we're rolling out. And we send a ton of communication out. So just make sure that you have the correct contact details. Make sure that booking.com emails aren't marked as spam, especially for the new host protection features that are going to be rolled out in the next few months, because it's going to be a great benefit to our hosts, and definitely want to make sure that you know about it right when they get released. And then lastly, just thank you, Tara, and thank you, VRNation, for hosting us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, we have one more question that just gets squeezed in, so I thought I'd
Yeah.
ask it here. What is the onboarding time frame from the time you start and you want to sign up with Booking until the time your listings can go live? What's the average sign up?
Yeah, absolutely. So it definitely depends on which connectivity provider you're using and how many listings are in your portfolio. If you are not using a provider at all, you can use your existing content from other online travel agents to import your information. So it takes about 15 minutes to build a listing without using a provider. If you are using a provider, typically takes a few minutes per listing to publish them to the booking.com. I would say on average, it takes about a week for partners to get their full portfolio on the booking.com platform, do a spot check, make sure everything's ready to go prior to going live on the site.
Okay. And then does Booking.com do direct API integrations with PMS systems, or do you have to go through a channel manager?
Yeah, so we have both. We have a ton of integrations directly with PMS systems, and then we also have channel providers that work with your PMS to connect to us. If you go on partner.booking.com, there's a great connectivity overview. I believe we have over 500 connectivity providers and partners and property management systems that we connect to. As far as specific to vacation rentals, we connect to all the major PMSs and channel providers in the vacation rental space. And we're continually making improvements to our connectivity piece as well. So always adding new functionality to what syncs through and what does not.
Okay. And then, sorry, one last question.
Yeah,
Do I need
absolutely.
a Stripe account to use Payments by Booking? Or is the Payments by Booking charging Stripe and then forwarding the funds to our bank account?
Yeah. So if you have an existing Stripe account, you can use that email to create your Payments by Booking, to submit your information and get enrolled. But if you don't have Stripe, that's totally fine as well. It's all built into the booking.com extranet. And the way that you would find that is you would go to the finance tab and select Payments by Booking. And that's where you would get enrolled into Payments by Booking. But you don't have to have an existing Stripe account to utilize it. It's all built into the booking.com end. Really easy to get started. And then, as I previously mentioned, it is completely free throughout the rest of the year. So a great way to save on credit card processing fees as well.
Okay. And then if someone has a proprietary PMS system, do you allow direct API connections?
So
Are there minimum size requirements around the API connections for PMS software?
Yeah. So there are some requirements. I can follow up directly. There is a section on our partner facing website that has a contact form on where you can request that. I don't have it off the top of my head, but I'm happy to follow up with who asked about that and send that over to them. It's a contact form.
Throwing
You can,
curveballs at you.
yeah,
All right, so a follow-up would be awesome, and then we can give that to the partner that is asking.
perfect.
I is there, and I cannot remember for the life of me who I worked with years ago when I onboarded, but if somebody needed a little extra hand or wanted to onboard, but it can be confusing on the website, is there relationship managers or area managers that help property managers onboard their properties with a little bit
Yeah.
more hand holding versus just following a step by step on the website?
Absolutely. So we have a dedicated onboarding team. It's the team that I'm on, and we work very closely with the property management companies as well as the channel providers that you may be using, and with the partner to help them get started on the platform. If you are wanting to get onboarded to booking, you can go ahead and reach out to booking host.nora@booking.com, and I'll send that email address to Tara and Heidi to include in any follow-up. And I will get you to the right person who oversees your area that you're in to make sure that you get the best onboarding experience possible. Our team is really great, and we help our partners with everything during the onboarding process, and definitely help with them getting started on the platform. So something unique to booking.com that we do have a dedicated onboarding team.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Good to hear.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I appreciate you joining us and telling us everything about booking.com today. And if anybody wants any more information, you can reach out to Emily or me. I'm at tara@luxurygetaways.com, and we can always get you the right answers. Thank you for joining our webinar today.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye bye.